Have you ever looked around the world, the news, the social media, and had this realization that things are being manipulated by some sort of an external force, some something we can't quite see? I think you're quite perceptive if you have that. But the question comes in, what are you going to do about that? You see, there have been beings that have coexisted alongside humanity since the dawn of civilization. They've been around us for eons. They've been called Archons, Reptilians, Thurzars, Egregores. They're parasites of all kinds. So call them what you want. But these things are not metaphors. They're not some sort of imagination, or they're not some sort of an excuse for why people are bad. Sometimes they are. I want you to realize these things are intelligent creatures. They're intelligent beings. They're not physical, but they're just as real. And they thrive on control. They manipulate thought. They manipulate emotions. They manipulate zeitgeist. And they can influence vast swaths of populations. They basically breed distortion, shadow energy. The ancient Gnostics described these beings, these archons, as feeding off of our ignorance, feeding off of our fear. They called it louche. Modern times, we describe these beings as reptilian creatures that are working behind power structures, influencing corporations, controlling world leaders, governments, and influencing those decisions at the highest levels. But here's the part that people are missing. They don't possess you. They aren't attached to you. They aren't controlling you. But they need you to believe what they're feeding you, what they're feeding all of us. They whisper thoughts to us like we're not good enough. You're tiny. You're small. You're powerless. You're helpless. The world is out of control. There's nothing that can be done about it. The end of the world is coming. And so these beings, they aren't going to come to us with like horns and fire. You're not going to see them directly. They come in as fear, shame, guilt, confusion, helplessness, hopelessness, all sorts of distortions. They make you doubt your own intuition. They make you doubt your own authenticity. They make you hide your voice and feel small. Because the moment you remember your power, they lose control. And that's their only goal, to keep you reactionary, keeping you blaming the external world, externalizing your power to someone else, to keep you distracted from the real battlefield inside yourself. It's tempting to point at them and say, well, they're the reason why everything's broken, but here's the hard truth. By doing that, you're externalizing your agency. You're giving them all of your power. You're playing into their game. And you reclaim your freedom not by fighting against them, not by going in some massive rebellion, not by buying into the stuff you see on TV, social media, the news, all that, but by turning your eye inward, by learning to face your distortions, by learning to face that part of you that believed those fear-based narratives, that part of you that hid your gifts, the part of you that needed to silence your voice, the part of you that agreed to bow to their fear. And that's where the real battle is. You see, they have convinced us that the battle is out there. It's us versus them, that we've got to stand up and we've got to rise against them, or we're just going to get beaten down. And they're pulling you into their battlefield, where they're the experts, where they're the masters of control. But the real battlefield is inside you. It's within you. That's where you are the master of the battle. That's where you are in control. And that's where you win. This is all about shadow work. And shadow work is not therapy. It's not mindset coaching. I want you to think of shadow work as spiritual rebellion. I want you to think of shadow work as the liberation code. It's where you are willing to walk straight into those distortions within you, bring the light of awareness and the light of truth to them, and burn those distortions away with your own truth. This is where you uncover the wounds that they use to control you, those wounds that they use so that you can take that power back and transmute that distortion into authenticity. This is a path I found that works, and it works amazingly well. It's not just theory. But this is something that has shown real results in spiritual battles with real entities. I've seen the spirits leave. I've seen attachments dissolve. I've seen people find their light, their eyes light up as their souls come back online. And it's not done through exorcisms or banishment or binding spells. This is done when you find your internal sovereignty. Now, I bet you've felt the presence of these beings. You've seen them on TV. You've heard the fear based narratives. They're guiding our fears, they're feeding our doubts. And now it's time to learn how to protect yourself. And I don't mean protect yourself with shields and wards or with guns and swords, but by learning how to become unshakable within. You see, if you want to learn how to rise above the archons, you don't need to escape the world. That's part of the fear based narrative. There is no external salvation. There is no timeline jump. There is no moment of mass ascension. You need to learn who you really are, what your gifts are, what your hidden powers are. You need to learn to clear those distortions through shadow work so that you can step out of the fear and take your power back. And if this message resonated with you, I want you to like, subscribe, and share this with everybody you know that needs to hear this message, because the time has come to take our power back, and that can only come from the only battlefield they can never win on, and that's inside. Hail!